If you could press pause on your old life, the noise, the rush, and the endless bills, and wake up somewhere peaceful, would you dare? The first light of dawn stretches across a quiet coastline. A thin mist drifts over the water as a small fishing boat returns to shore. You step outside, your bare feet touching the cool wooden floor. The air carries the scent of sea salt and freshly baked bread from a little bakery on the corner. In your hands, a warm cup of coffee releases soft curls of steam blending into the pale morning light. The world feels slower, gentler, and more real, as if time itself decided to give you another chance. Somewhere in the distance, church bells echo through the hills, and children's laughter floats in the breeze. You take a sip and realize this is what peace tastes like. No deadlines, no traffic, no pressure. Just the sound of waves folding into the sand and the heartbeat of a life that finally fits. Maybe this time, you don't need more money, you just need more meaning. Because there are still places in this world where people live with open doors and open hearts, where neighbors bring you fruit from their garden and strangers invite you to dinner as if you've always belonged. Today we'll travel to 5 countries like that, places where you can start over, live simply, and truly belong again. This isn't about cheap living, it's about meaningful living. So take a deep breath and let your worries drift away with the tide. Because by the end of this journey, one of these 5 places might quietly whisper your name. Which one would you choose to begin again? Mexico, the warm soul of the Americas. The day begins where the Pacific kisses the shores of Oaxaca. The golden sun rises slowly over the waves, painting the sand in shades of amber and rose. A fisherman hums a soft tune as he pulls in his net, and somewhere nearby a street vendor lights his grill, the smell of sizzling corn and lime drifting through the air. The marketplace is already alive, bursting with color, laughter, and music. Women in bright dresses arrange mangoes and papayas into neat towers, while a young man strums a guitar, his song blending with the rhythm of the ocean. This is Mexico, a country where life dances even in silence. For those who come here seeking peace, Mexico doesn't just offer affordability, it offers warmth. Along the coast, you can rent a small apartment for just $350 to $500 a month, and a fresh seafood meal rarely costs more than $3 to $5. With a total monthly budget of around $800, you can live not in survival, but in serenity. You wake to the sound of the sea, not alarms. You buy your vegetables from the same woman every morning who always adds an extra tomato and a smile para suerte for good luck. And then there's David, a 60-year-old Canadian who once lost everything during the pandemic. Back home, he spent his days buried in bills watching his retirement shrink. But here in Puerto Escondido, he found something money could never buy: freedom. Now he teaches yoga online in a modest room overlooking the ocean. His mornings begin with meditation and a breakfast of fresh fish grilled by his neighbors. His afternoons are for swimming, reading, and long conversations with locals who call him Don David, as if he's one of their own. When the weekend comes, the village turns into a celebration. The air fills with the scent of mole simmering in clay pots, and the smoky sweetness of mezcal shared from hand to hand. Laughter spills out into the streets, guitars and maracas echo under the palm trees, and strangers become friends in a single song. David says that every time he joins a fiesta, he feels like he's stepped into a family he never knew he had. They don't see me as a foreigner, he smiles. They see me as a neighbor. Here, sunsets are never just sunsets. They are gatherings. As the sun melts into the horizon, people pause. They sit together on the sand, sharing stories, passing around drinks, watching the sky turn gold and violet. It's a moment that costs nothing, but feels priceless. The city's chaos, the deadlines, the loneliness, all of it fades with the tide. So would you trade the noise of your old life for a place where every sunset feels like family? Because in Mexico, you don't just find a home, you find a heartbeat that welcomes you back to what life was always meant to be. 4. Indonesia. Islands of serenity and second chances, dawn rises softly over Bali. The air is thick with the scent of incense and morning dew, the kind that clings gently to the rice terraces stretching endlessly toward the horizon. From a nearby temple, the slow chime of bells floats through the mist, blending with the distant crow of roosters and the rhythmic splash of water as farmers tend to their fields. The world here doesn't wake with urgency. It awakens with grace. This is Indonesia, a country made of thousands of islands, but also thousands of ways to begin again. In Ubud, the heart of Bali's green soul, you can rent a small villa surrounded by palm trees and lotus ponds for about $400 to $600 a month. Groceries, fruits, and utilities rarely exceed $300 to $400, and a plate of nasi goreng fried rice rich with chili and egg might cost just $1 or $2. Life here runs not on deadlines, but on the rhythm of sunlight and prayer. For those looking to stay longer, Indonesia opens its arms with the second home visa, a 5-year residence permit for those with a savings deposit of around $130,000 USD, or the digital nomad visa, which allows remote workers to live tax-free on foreign income. Yet even without the paperwork, it's the island itself that seems to invite you to stay. Take Elisa, a 35-year-old from Milan. She used to work in advertising, long nights, cold coffee, and constant pressure. Burnout came quietly, like a tide that never stopped rising. One morning, she packed her bags and flew east to Bali with no plan except to breathe again. Now she lives in a simple house at the edge of Ubud, where banana leaves brush against her windows, and the smell of rain mixes with earth after every storm. She grows organic vegetables in her garden, teaches small cooking classes to travelers, and donates part of her harvest to the local temple. Her neighbors call her Ibu Elisa, Mother Elisa. They bring her coconut water when she's working under the sun and invite her to ceremonies under the banyan tree. When asked if she misses her old life, she laughs softly. Every morning I hear temple bells instead of traffic, peace instead of pressure. In Bali, gratitude isn't a word, it's a way of living. The locals start their day with small offerings of flowers and rice, thanking the earth before taking from it. Even strangers are greeted with a smile and a gentle nod, as if to say, "Welcome, you're part of this story now." The pace slows until you realize it's not the world that's slower, it's your heart finally catching up. As the sun sets behind the jungle canopy, the sound of gamelan music drifts through the evening air. Lanterns glow softly between the trees, and the scent of clove and frangipani fills the night. You sit outside barefoot, a cup of warm tea in your hand, and realize you haven't thought about stress all day. So could you live where time slows and gratitude becomes your daily routine? In Indonesia, life doesn't ask you to rush. It simply asks you to be present. 3. Portugal. Europe's gentle embrace, morning unfolds softly along the southern coast of Portugal in the sun-washed town of Lagos. The light here has a warmth unlike anywhere else, golden gentle and endlessly forgiving. It spills over whitewashed walls and terracotta roofs over cobblestone streets where bougainvillea drapes like silk. From the nearby cliffs of the Algarve, the ocean breathes in slow rhythm, waves rising, folding, whispering against the rocks as seagulls trace wide circles in the sky. The air carries the scent of salt coffee and freshly grilled sardines. Portugal isn't loud. It doesn't demand your attention, it invites it. Here you can rent a one-bedroom apartment outside the city center for $600 to $800 a month, dine on seafood and wine for around $10 a meal, and live comfortably on $1,200 to $1,400 a month. For those who dream of staying longer, the D7 visa, designed for retirees and remote workers, asks for a modest income of just $820 per month. In exchange, Portugal gives you something rare in modern Europe: time, space, and safety. For Robert and Anna, a retired couple from Florida, this coast became their second life. After selling their home in the U.S., they traded humidity and highways for ocean breeze and old-world calm. Now every morning begins with a stroll to the fish market. They know the vendors by name: Joao, the fisherman, who always slips them an extra mackerel for luck. Back home, Anna fries the fish in olive oil while Robert squeezes lemons fresh from the neighbor's tree. By noon, they sit at a seaside cafe, 2 glasses of Vinho Verde, catching the sunlight, watching the horizon turn silver. Sometimes they don't even talk. The silence between them feels full of gratitude, of stillness, of everything they'd been missing for decades. In the afternoons, they paint. Robert captures the soft turquoise of the sea. Anna paints doorways covered in blue tiles. Their days are slow, ordinary, but in that slowness lies a kind of grace they'd never known before. Life in Portugal flows like the tide, calm, patient, and rhythmic. Neighbors greet each other with bom dia on the street. Shopkeepers still wrap bread in paper, and even the wind seems to move in time with the heart. At sunset, the entire town gathers by the cliffs. Strangers share benches, wine bottles are passed around, and for a moment everyone watches the same burning horizon together. Here, retirement isn't the end of something. It's the rediscovery of what peace actually tastes like: salt on your lips, laughter in the breeze, and the knowledge that you're exactly where you're meant to be. In Portugal, you don't retire, you rediscover what peace tastes like. 2. Laos, the forgotten heart of Asia. Morning rises gently over the Mekong River, where the mist drifts like silk above quiet waters. Wooden houses stand on stilts along the riverbank, their roofs still glistening from the night's dew. Somewhere in the distance, the soft ringing of temple bells mingles with the hum of monks' chants and the rhythmic splash of oars as fishermen glide through the fog. The air smells of wet earth, burning incense and jasmine. It's not just another sunrise, it's a prayer in motion. This is Laos, a country often overlooked, yet perhaps one of the last truly peaceful corners of Asia. Life moves slowly here, and that's its quiet magic. In Luang Prabang, the old royal capital wrapped in mountains and rivers, you can rent a small wooden home for about $250 to $350 a month. Meals are simple: sticky rice, grilled fish, and papaya salad for $1.50 to $3. A strong, sweet Lao coffee for just $1. Even with a total budget of around $600 a month, you'll find you're not living less, you're living lighter. Getting a visa is as easy as the lifestyle itself. Many foreigners stay long-term through tourist extensions or a volunteer or retirement visa, allowing months, even years of gentle living. There's no rush, no stress, and no one asking what you do for a living. Here people care more about who you are when the day ends. That's what happened to Sven, a German engineer, who came to Laos to volunteer as an English teacher for 6 months and never left. He says it wasn't a plan, but a feeling. The people here reminded me how to breathe. He laughs. Every morning his neighbors greet him with a soft sabayday, sometimes handing him a basket of mangoes, or inviting him to a meal of vegetarian curry and sticky rice. They speak little English, but it doesn't matter. As Sven says, here people smile more than they speak, and somehow that says everything. In the evenings he walks down to the Mekong, where orange-robed monks pass quietly along the path, and the sun melts into gold over the water. The children play by the shore, splashing, laughing, while elders sit on bamboo stools sipping tea and watching the day exhale its final light. There's no background noise here, just the rhythm of life itself. In Laos, simplicity isn't poverty, it's wealth in its purest form. No one rushes to impress, no one competes. The luxury is time to think, to breathe, to connect. You begin to notice small things again: the way sunlight dances on the river, the way your heart slows when you listen to the bells at dusk. So would you dare to live in a place where simplicity feels like luxury? Because here in Laos, peace doesn't shout, it simply smiles back at you. 1. Mauritius paradise that welcomes you. The Indian Ocean glimmers like liquid turquoise under the morning sun. Waves roll softly onto white sand where palm trees sway, and the scent of salt and sugarcane fills the air. Just beyond the beaches, green hills stretch into endless plantations, and in the heart of it all, Port Louis awakens its market alive with color and rhythm. Vendors call out in French and Creole laughter spills between the spice stalls, and the air smells of vanilla curry and fresh bread. This is Mauritius, a small island yet vast in heart. Here life moves at the pace of the tide. You can rent a cozy seaside apartment for around $500 to $700 a month and live comfortably with a total budget of $900 to $1,100 per month. The government even offers a premium visa, a one-year residence permit for remote workers and retirees, earning roughly $1,500 a month with zero tax on foreign income. It's one of the few places on Earth where paradise doesn't ask for perfection, only participation. For Maria and Ahmed, a Spanish couple in their 40s, Mauritius became that paradise after Europe's financial crisis left them without work and without direction. They arrived with 2 suitcases and a simple dream to start over somewhere that still smiled at strangers. Now they run a small beachfront cafe in the village of Flic-en-Flac. Every morning they brew coffee for fishermen returning from the sea and tourists wandering barefoot through the sand. They employ 2 local women, pay fair wages, and share stories in a mix of French English and laughter. Their days begin with the soft rustle of sugarcane fields and end with tea, not just any tea, but Mauritian vanilla tea shared with their neighbors as the sun fades behind Le Morne Mountain. Back in Spain, Maria says we had a bigger house but smaller hearts. Here we have less, but it feels like more. When night falls, music drifts through the village, Sega drums beating, children dancing, the ocean humming along. Mauritius is a place that doesn't just offer beauty, it offers belonging. The locals call the island of the heart, and it's easy to understand why. Everyone waves when you pass, strangers help you carry groceries, and smiles are given as naturally as sunlight. It's a land where diversity isn't tolerated, it's celebrated. Hindus, Muslims, Christians, and Creoles live side by side, sharing festivals, songs, and dreams. As the evening breeze rolls in from the ocean, you stand on the sand barefoot and calm. The waves move like music, and you realize something rare. This isn't a vacation anymore. It's home. Because in Mauritius, you don't just find a place to live, you find a rhythm, a song that never leaves your heart. Every country we visited isn't just a place, it's a feeling. A chance to pause, to breathe, and to begin again. Because sometimes the life you've been searching for isn't lost. It's simply waiting far from where you began. In Mexico, life feels like a warm embrace every sunset, a celebration, every meal shared like family. In Indonesia, peace hums in the temple bells, reminding you that stillness can heal what hurry once broke. In Portugal, time itself slows down, wrapping you in sunlight, sea air, and the quiet grace of simplicity. In Laos, kindness is a language spoken through smiles, and peace is measured not in possessions, but in calm. And in Mauritius, love flows as freely as the ocean, a rhythm, a song, a heartbeat that stays with you forever. The world comes together in one beautiful montage, waves crashing on golden shores, terraced rice fields glowing beneath the evening sun, markets bursting with color and laughter, and the gentle smile of an old man under his straw hat. Eyes filled with quiet joy. These are not just destinations. They are reminders that peace still exists, that beauty can still be simple, and that belonging can still be found. So tell me, which one speaks to your heart? Mexico's sunsets, Bali's peace, Portugal's charm, Laos's kindness, or Mauritius's warmth, comment below, subscribe, and join me on the next journey, where we don't just find new places, we find new beginnings.